I know for sure that the National Intelligence Service listens to our phone calls and so on and so forth. This happens. They have ways of collecting intelligence. So how is it that if they know that Sam is recruiting goons from Roysambu to bring them to Nairobi, why wait until the goons get to Nairobi? Because you have the capacity, you have the police in Roysambu, you will know that these people are being hired, they're being recruited in this particular house. So you go there and disrupt the matter. That is part of the security work. So again, on this particular matter, my honest view is that if indeed goons were hired by an individual and the government has got evidence that that has been done, then honestly speaking, it is right to act on that particular matter. But when action is not taken, as if I hired goons, for example, if there was a demonstration in Nairobi and I hired goons, myself, Fred Matiang'i, I hired goons, how can the government don't know that I'm trying to hire goons? And there is one of the reasons why I will not do it is because I know that by the second day, the government will know. They can even go trace money. I have moved money from this account. I've been paid by so and so and so on and so forth. They can trace that money. So my view is, if that has happened, and I've seen that being reported widely and so on and so forth, the question I ask is this. You know, we can engage in gossip, hearsay, he said this, I said, they allege, and so on. Someone needs to act. Okay. And then once action has been taken, we will all have facts to deal with.
That is what I want us to talk about today. That interview that was conducted by citizens Sam Gituku, who was interviewing Fred Matiang'i, who is currently presidential candidate for the year 2027. Under the one umbrella of Akina Rigathi Gachagua, Eugene Wamalwa, Kalonzo Musyoka. I know they do say, for whom much is given, much is expected. Now, I wouldn't want to go into these with the political spectacles. I want to view these in terms of our security in the nation. What am I talking about? Because if I go in the political way, I would actually say that the match that was expected from Fred Matiang'i was not delivered. Matiang'i became so clinical with this interview. There are so much that Kenyans expected. One, and also we expected this from Sam Gituku. The questions of River Yala killings when they were in Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's regime. The issues of extrajudicial killings, the issues of abductions, because they were also happening during the Uhuru Kenyatta's regime. Those were what we did expect. But since that was not given, well, let us focus what is at hand. Point one. The National Intelligence Service listens to our calls. They tap our calls. Does the law allow the security agencies to tap and listen into our calls, our conversation? Does it mean that each and every conversation we hold in terms of calling or texting, the National Intelligence Service has? Well, that has been proven by none other than but Fred Matiang'i. This is a person speaking with a lot of authority because he was the CS for Interior. Remember? And he knows if a person is a criminal, it will take less than 24 hours for police to unravel the criminals. What Matiang'i is simply saying, we don't lack resources as a state to pursue justice. We have all it takes to pursue justice. And just to tickle the clock back, this was so evident when the assassination of former Kasipul Member of Parliament Ongondo Were was assassinated. From Parliament, the trail was taken, phone calls, records, even the planning of how he will be how the plans will be executed for the assassination. The CCTV cameras worked perfectly on that. But when it came to the date of this teacher and also an online sensation, Albert Ojwang, Then it became a cat and mouse game, meaning when it's a common citizen, investigations will take days, weeks, months, and years for justice to be seen to have taken place. Now, the other day, on June 25th this year, there were demonstrations to commemorate the fallen heroes, the Gen Zs who were martyred. You know, when history will be written, they should be the heroes. But that will not happen because the government like concealing the truth. They like concealing the reality because of their own greed. That notwithstanding, the political class aligned or pro-government asserted that it was Rigathi Gachagua aligned team that were responsible for the chaos that were witnessed during the 25th June protests. What Matiangi is telling them is so simple.
I know for sure that the National Intelligence Service listens to our phone calls and so on and so forth. This happens. They have ways of collecting intelligence. So how is it that if they know that Sam is recruiting goons from Roysambu to bring them to Nairobi, why wait until the goons get to Nairobi?
Exactly. The government is tapping every call. It would trail any money transactions because somebody might have sat somewhere to hold this meeting for mobilization for the criminals to conduct their acts during the demonstration. Some money might have exchanged hands during that time. Someone must have withdrawn that money within the circle of the opposition, if that is what they presume were the people who are under choreographing the attacks and the criminal acts that we did see or witness on June 25th. Some transaction must have been made and the paper trail would be followed. Up to now, no one has been arrested, with regards to the IDs that were found in Quickmart supermarket. Now, tell me, as a criminal, you will be so smart not to leave any trail behind. You will be so smart not to leave even your ID behind. That begs another question. Where are the CCTV footages of the so-called supermarket? We need to see, because as it is, nothing was looted in the supermarket. Now, this government seems to be so schematic, and we should be very careful with it. Now, during peaceful protests, we should make sure that we guard all the public institutions, especially those dealing with registration of IDs, or those dealing with the receiving of already done IDs, just waiting for the citizens to pick them up. Because it knows very well people are not happy with the things happening in the nation. And that is why the Gen Zs are so many and they are determined to take William Samoei Ruto home. And do you think Ruto will sit down waiting for that to happen? No. They will infiltrate even more goons in these peaceful protests. And they'll make sure that key institutions are destroyed to deter the movement, to tarnish the movement. You know, the good thing is that we already know what they might be planning. It's not going to be easy. So let's make sure that we guard these public institutions. Lest we cry at the end of the day, you might be wanting to vote, but you don't have the instrument of making sure you take Ruto back home. I don't know what's your take on this. You can give me your thought in the comment section below. If you love content of this nature, kindly subscribe and press the notification button. So anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Khalif is my name for the unscripted talks here in Dab Radio. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dab Radio ndio mpango mzima.